In the small town of Ravenswood, nestled between misty hills and dense forests, there was an abandoned mansion that everyone avoided. Known as Wraithmore Mansion, it held long-forgotten secrets. It was said to be haunted by the spirits of the former owners, the Thornfields, who mysteriously disappeared 50 years ago. Emma Blackwood, a determined journalist, had always been fascinated by stories of mystery and terror. Upon hearing about the mansion, she decided she had to uncover the truth. Armed with a camera, a recorder, and a notebook, she ventured to the property on the darkest night of the year. As she entered the rusty gate, Emma felt a shiver run down her spine. The wind howled through the trees, as if whispering ancient secrets. The mansion's door, though old and decayed, creaked open with an eerie groan, as if the house itself were alive. The interior of the mansion was in ruins, with furniture covered in dust and cobwebs hanging from the corners. The windows were broken, allowing the moonlight to cast dancing shadows on the walls. The air was heavy, filled with the smell of mold and decay. Emma began to explore, each step echoing through the empty corridors. In the main hall, she found a large family portrait of the Thornfields. The eyes of the figures seemed to follow her as she moved, a detail that sent a new shiver down her spine. In one of the rooms, she found an old diary. The yellowed pages were filled with notes from Elizabeth Thornfield, the last resident of the house. Elizabeth wrote about whispering voices, shadows that moved on their own, and a presence that constantly watched her. She described endless nights of insomnia, plagued by vivid nightmares and terrifying visions. Emma felt a chill as she read the final lines. "They are coming to take me. If anyone finds this diary, please reveal the truth. Do not let the darkness win." Determined to uncover more, Emma continued her exploration. She climbed the creaky stairs to the attic, where she found chests full of old clothes and dusty toys. A porcelain doll with a macabre smile and broken eyes seemed to watch her. Suddenly, she heard a sound from downstairs, a whisper, or perhaps a moan. In the basement, she found a secret compartment, revealed by a loose stone in the wall. Behind it, a narrow passage descended even deeper into the darkness. With a flashlight in hand, Emma descended the staircase, her heart beating faster with each step. The walls were covered with strange symbols, some familiar from her readings on the occult. At the bottom, she found a secret room filled with ritualistic objects and strange symbols. In the center, a table held an old spellbook. The walls were covered with ancient drawings and complex runes that seemed to pulse with their own energy. Before she could examine further, she heard a sound behind her. Turning slowly, she saw a hooded figure emerge from the shadows. "You shouldn't be here," the figure murmured, its voice cold as ice. The figure raised its head, and to Emma's horror, revealed itself to be Henry Thornfield, the long-lost patriarch of the family, who seemed not to have aged a day. "Now that you've discovered our secret," Henry said with a sinister smile, "you cannot leave." He began to recite words in a language Emma didn't understand, and the room around them began to vibrate. Desperate to escape, she managed to break free momentarily, running back to the main corridor. The doors slammed on their own, and the windows shook with an invisible force. As she ran through the corridors, Emma caught glimpses of the former residents' ghostly figures, their eyes hollow with sadness and despair. Amid the chaos, she found a room where the energy seemed less intense. There, on the floor, was a protection circle made with salt. She stepped into the circle, feeling a slight relief from the crushing pressure of the darkness. With trembling hands, she opened Elizabeth's diary again, searching for a solution. She found a note about a banishment spell, something that could, with luck, rid the mansion of its curse. With a trembling voice, Emma began to recite the words of the spell, drawing symbols in the air as instructed. The mansion shook violently, and the screams of the spirits intensified. Henry appeared at the door, his eyes burning with hatred, but he couldn't cross the salt circle. With each word of the spell, the darkness seemed to retreat, the oppressive presence diminishing. Finally, with a final scream, the mansion let out a deep groan, and silence fell. Henry vanished, along with the other apparitions. Emma, exhausted and breathless, stepped out of the circle. The mansion was in ruins, but the sense of oppression had lifted. She knew the Thornfield secret still needed to be revealed, but for now, the darkness had been banished. Emma left the mansion, the sun beginning to rise on the horizon. She felt a new determination grow within her. She would tell the story of Wraithmore Mansion and the Thornfields, revealing the secrets that had almost consumed her. Ravenswood never knew what happened to the curious journalist that night, but now at least, they knew the truth about Wraithmore Mansion. And on the darkest nights, when the wind howled through the hills, the stories of the Thornfields continued to haunt the town, a reminder of the dark secrets some houses hold.